For decades, cheerleaders have been thought of as window dressing for sporting events. Although their routines are hip, the public perception of them is dated. But these eye-catching women are more than just pretty girls with pom-poms. Singer and former Laker girl PAULA ABDUL.
I think it's about how well you are coordinated, what kind of athleticism you have, and it's really about, can you get a crowd going? Can you really excite them? It's as competitive as hell.
It's not just the competition that's rough. Cheering and dancing for a professional team is hard work, especially in basketball.
You have to do 2 or 3 practices a week. Then there are at least 2 or 3 games a week. So it's a big commitment.
Jessica Brown knows that commitment all too well. She cheers for the Washington Wizards. Jessica is living proof that not all cheerleaders are what you might expect. She may spend her nights with thousands of screaming fans, but her days are spent with screaming kids.
I know some schools might say they don't want on their faculty a kindergarten teacher that dances at night, but they're very supportive. My principal has a picture of me with the rest of the team in her office.
Mindy Stanek from the Portland Trail Blazers dances her heart out courtside every home game. But Mindy has plenty of heart to go around. She's a volunteer at Legacy Emmanuel Children's Hospital.
I love kids, always have. I've been drawn to them, and I just think it's my gift. I'm gonna use it. It doesn't scare me to see anybody sick. I'm not nervous to be around it.
A native of Los Angeles, Jenny Waters dazzles the fans with her moves as a Laker girl. And it's not just her moves that are impressive.
I actually majored in psychology in college, and I minored in dance, and I graduated in 3 years with honors.
Cheering for a professional football team is just as much work. And Dallas Cowboy cheerleader Shannon Swanson knows in Texas the commitment is as big as the state.
There's a lot of tradition with the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders, and they were kind of like the first ones to be known and to shine out there on the field.
TAMICA Lee is a cheerleader for the New Orleans Saints. She's what the team calls a Saint-sation. Cheering is one way in which TAMICA can honor her father, a former Saints player who died when she was little.
My mother has seen me perform. She's very proud of me. And she's always like, you know, your dad played on that field and you're on that field. And that's her biggest thing is, you know, I always knew you were going to be in that field one day.
And finally, 26-year-old Raiderette Vanessa Nadeau is living her American dream. She cheers for the Oakland Raiders. This first-year rookie knocks the socks off the unruly Raiders fans.
We just know that these are die-hard fans, and they love us. They absolutely love us, and it's just such a good feeling.
Vanessa really appreciates the freedom to express herself. Growing up in South Africa, she rarely had that opportunity.
I was brought up under apartheid, which is a societal segregation of races. And there were 4 race groups: Indian, colored, white, and black. And so, of course, I lived in the Indian community. There have been so many incidences where I was not allowed to go into certain restaurants or definitely not be on certain beaches. When I was younger, I thought it was just the way of life. That's the way things were supposed to be. But as I got older, I realized that was just not right. My family was very politically involved, and they did fear for our safety, and that was the #1 reason why we left.
After moving to Northern California, Vanessa finally felt like she fit in.
It was just the best feeling being around so many different people and not feeling like somebody's judging me because of the color of my skin.
Vanessa always had a passion for dance, but it wasn't until she came to the U.S. that she really developed that passion.
Yeah, I did a different form of dance. It's called Bharatanatyam. It's a classical Indian dance form. I didn't ever think I'd be exposed to any other forms of dance because I didn't really have that opportunity in South Africa. Once I enrolled in high school, I did pursue jazz dancing, which I just completely fell in love with.
Fueled by her husband's love of the Oakland Raiders, Vanessa's dancing took an unexpected turn.
I just thought it would be such a thrill to be out there, and since my husband is such a die-hard fan, he wouldn't mind the season tickets. If it wasn't for my husband, I don't think I would have made it. He was like my trainer before the tryouts. We worked out together, we ran together, we went over possible questions that they could ask me, so he's been really supportive.
Becoming a Raiderette helped Vanessa finally feel like she was more than equal. She was special.
Being out there on the field, even though it wasn't a sold-out game, preseason game, but just being there, and once the national anthem was sang, I actually started crying because I just couldn't believe that I was out there. It was so amazing.
But being a cheerleader is not Vanessa's only responsibility. She juggles the 20-hour practice week with a job she loves at the historic Claremont Hotel in Berkeley, California.
I'm a special events coordinator for Jordan's restaurant, and I book parties of 50 or less. I book those events, send them the menus, and just take care of all those details. I absolutely love it.
And if cheering and working aren't enough, Vanessa finds time to be a mom to her 2-year-old son, Presley.
I choose to go to work and rehearsals I can't go to work on a day that I don't have rehearsals, but I'd rather spend that entire day with Presley.
Vanessa seems to have it all.
I'm living my dream and I'm absolutely loving it.
A dream she didn't dare have when living in South Africa, and one she can't wait to share with her son.
I would tell Presley that it was one of the most exciting times of my life and that it gave me energy running after him.
Your Raiderettes football's fabulous females.
Coming up, a cheerleader with an unstoppable spirit.
My hearing loss, I try not to let it prevent me from doing anything.
And up next, the tryouts.
My mom's crying, so she can't talk, and I'm like, it's okay. I wanted to be a movie star.
One goal of mine was to be a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader.
I wanted to be a newscaster.
I wanted to do dancing and commentating.
I've always wanted to be in the performing arts, dancing #1.
From the hardwood floors of the basketball court to the crowded sidelines of the football field, most of today's cheerleaders do more than just shake their pom-poms.
I have been involved in cheerleading for 17 years. And I must say that it has grown into quite a dance. It's a dance sport.
A dance sport that also requires a positive attitude. For most of our 6 women, cheerleading was a childhood dream.
My dad actually ran a sports store in Jacksonville, and we used to sell the posters of the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders, and so of course I always looked at them, and you know, I had all of them up in my room, and I always admired them and looked up to the girls.
Cheerleading fascinated me, first of all, because of football. That's first and foremost. I grew up with football, so that was my main thing that inspired me to cheer.
I had a little anxiety about it and told my dad that I wanted to dance and be a cheerleader, and I think his mouth just about dropped, and I remember his comment saying, "What are you ever going to do with that?"
My mom took me to my dad and her old high school, and we were watching a football game, and I remember seeing the cheerleaders down on the field, the girls down there with their pom-poms, and it's pretty exciting as a little kid.
Even though 25-year-old Mindy Stanek is now all grown up, it's still exciting. She cheers for the Portland Trailblazers. Cheering gets Mindy the best seat in the house for all the home games.
We are in the middle of it where the refs are running by, the balls are flying. You're in the game, really. Right, here's the red line to the court, and your knees are right up next to it.
Mindy has always loved being part of the action.
I started volleyball, and then I worked my way up, so I'm a senior. I'm playing on the team varsity, starting every time. So then the schools were recruiting, NCAA schools were recruiting, and I actually had an offer to a volleyball school in Missouri. I played there as outside hitter, as one of the shortest girls on the team, and so volleyball was a big part of my life. My eligibility was up with volleyball. I'd played 4 years. I hadn't had my degree yet, so I thought, oh, Portland, awesome place. I was born there, my family's there, so I moved back here, and I called up the school, and I was like, I play soccer, and they had me come try out, and they're like, okay, we'll give you a scholarship. Come play for us.
But Mindy's ability to score on the field hasn't limited her ability to score in the classroom.
I'm graduating with an IDS degree. It's interdisciplinary, and it's in biology, psychology, and sociology.
Mindy's devotion to school is only rivaled by her devotion to her squad.
I don't think I've come in a bad mood, but maybe tired. It's definitely not individual. It's a team, and they make sure to pick you up. I've never been on a team like this. It's amazing. It's definitely not self-centered. It's if you look good, then I look good.
This may be Mindy's first season, but it wasn't her first try. Last year she didn't make the final cut, but she wasn't the one upset.
I called my family at 6:30 during this wedding, and they wouldn't answer the phone, and I was like, what's going on? And so finally my sister gets on the phone, and I was like, Jenny, and she's like, hi, hold on. She hands it to my mom. My mom's like, my mom's crying, so she can't talk, and I'm like, it's okay.
But Mindy is not one to give up easily.
I did make it the next year. Oh gosh, that was really exciting. And if I hadn't made it, I would have tried again, definitely, because I'm just that way. I'm not going to give up.
Mindy's determination helps her keep up with a hectic lifestyle.
When I open my planner, the girls are like, whoa. You know, I mean, I have every block filled in, but I just look at that day and what I need to do, and I do it.
And that includes spending time with her husband. And yes, this stunning blonde is married.
My free nights, that's my time for my husband and I hardly ever see him, which is hard, but he's amazing. And if he's gone to bed, there'll be dinner and a candle going for when I get home.
Mindy's love of life spills over into everything she does. She even finds time to help others.
The Children's Cancer Association is actually who I work for, and it's volunteer work, and I started this almost a year ago. There's a cart with music instruments on it and music players, and I go around with a girl and we sing and play the guitar. We come in and there's music and drums and we make noise and we sing, and it just breaks up the scariness and you know, the pain. I think they start to forget about that a little bit. The kids smile, you can see a difference in the parents.
No matter what Mindy is doing, she always displays a winning smile and a positive attitude.
I feel like I can just accomplish anything now. To step on a court in front of a lot of people and do what you love and see people respond, I think it's just made me stronger.
Still ahead, TAMICA faces the challenge of her life.
It's very hard for me to deal with. She's strong, and I try to be strong.
The best advice I got was from my mom, and she's always told me, Vanessa, don't forget where you came from, who you are, and always remain the same.
Do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
You can find something positive in anybody, you just have to look.
Good things will happen to good people, and don't let the bumps in the roads, you know, knock you down.
Everything happens for a reason.
To be selfless, not to concentrate on myself, not to be selfish.
Becoming a professional cheerleader takes more than just a pretty face and a hard body. It takes skill to make it in the big leagues.
You're sitting in front of a panel and judges. You have 49 girls in back of you, and at that moment you need to, in 3 seconds, say why you want to be a Laker girl, and you need to separate yourself from everybody else. Not just say your dad wants free tickets.
The tryout process was by far the most nerve-wracking thing I've ever had to do in my life. I went on to the interview process, which we had to interview with professionals in corporate business, and they interviewed us on our stories. What do we like? What we don't like?
Tryouts is very challenging. It's very competitive. There's actually 3 rounds to the process. We have a preliminary, a semifinals, and a finals. So there can be up to 1,000 girls that come to the preliminary audition, and basically you get out there and you just freestyle dance. And then they cut it down from there, and you come back to the semifinal audition, and then they actually teach you, a few 8 counts of a routine. They narrow it down from that, and you come back to finals, and you have to take a test over current events of the NFL.
From tryouts to practice, it's work, work, work.
There was a game this Tuesday and Thursday, so we had practice Monday, went to the game. But in between that, we do have a lot of charities, and we do a lot of promotions.
We might stay there until 11:30 at night to make sure that we have every single move in place, every single dance looks good. I don't think many people realize how much work and time and effort we put into the little dances that they see for 90 seconds or even less.
From 7 o'clock to 9:30, we are moving non-stop. Intense workout.
We practice generally 4 or 5 nights a week. We get here and we start around 6:30 and we go till 10:30 or 11 at night. Of course, on a week of a game, we practice more.
27-year-old Shannon Swanson knows you have to be dedicated if you want to be on a team where the cheerleaders are as famous as the players. Shannon is a member of the world-renowned Dallas Cowboy Cheerleaders. This squad has cheered their team to Super Bowl victories 5 times in the last 20 years.
I think the town of Dallas really looks up to the cheerleaders, and we're a good role model for the town. But it is hard trying to manage working and doing this too, but you just learn. You find a balance, and at first it's a big adjustment.
But Shannon doesn't mind making that adjustment.
It's a great opportunity to be out there, and I love performing, I love dancing, and so I'm trying to do this while I still can. While I still have the energy and I'm still young, because you won't be able to do this forever, and it's really worth it to me.
This is Shannon's first year back after taking some time off.
I graduated from SMU at the same time that the season ended for us, and so I was trying to find a job and figure out what I really wanted to do. So I was away from cheerleading for 4 years and really missed it.
Shannon is great at selling herself, and it pays off in her work too. She puts in 40 hours a week at her family's business, a gift store called Texas Baskets.
We sell wholesale, and we do the retail side too. So we now have 2 retail stores. It's been a lot of fun just seeing all the new products coming out each year and ordering new and neat different things. It's a challenge. I try to schedule myself when I have time off from cheerleading to be at work. Scheduling is hard. I have around 6 part-time employees, so trying to schedule them to work when I know I can't be there and making sure I have reliable employees is a challenge.
Shannon's commitment to the team and the family business hasn't stopped her from finding romance.
I met Travis, and at the time I was just ready to be single. I did not want a boyfriend. I'd just gotten out of a relationship and was ready to be on my own for a while. But when he came along, things changed. We got engaged after 4 months, so it was a quick engagement, and then we're getting married in April. He is very supportive of me being a cheerleader. He does get jealous sometimes of the time commitment.
And of course, the wedding has to be planned around her cheering schedule.
It's going to have to be a big wedding because my dad is from a family of 11 kids. So just family alone is about 100 people. And then when you throw in some friends, it's going to be, over 200. I think what I want for my dress is probably a traditional dress. I love the ivory color, so I think that's what I want to look for. I haven't done the flowers yet. I have to say, my mom has been a huge help with the planning. Without her, I don't know what we would do.
Shannon's poise and class make her a perfect role model.
Just seeing the little girls out at the games watching us and knowing that they're looking up to you that much, and wow, I'm that person that they're looking up to. It's just a huge honor.
Coming up, the support of family.
Mom and Dad, please tape my first solo. Sure enough, I get home, they tape the wrong girl.
The person that is my role model is my mother, because from all that she's done, all that she's gone through, she's still been able to do with a smile.
I love Barbara Walters. I always have from the time I was a child. I think she's an amazing woman.
I would definitely have to say my mom. She has really been a rock in the family.
The person that I admire most in my life is definitely my sister. She's unbelievably accomplished.
I would have to say my mom. I think she did a really good job raising us and teaching us to make our own decisions.
In cheerleading, looking good comes with a job. And though maintaining those looks are a priority, some teams are stricter than others.
They do weigh us in probably once a week, and you're aware of it yourself, if you've gained weight and how you feel at practice and how you look in the uniform, and they'll let you know if there's a problem.
You're continuously measuring yourself against perfection, really, because that's what people expect. I mean, with makeup, with dieting, with working out, everything, the whole package, you need to go out there and look wonderful. I think one of the drawbacks is really you get hard on yourself.
Some of the girls don't feel that pressure.
Our directors have never told me or any of the girls, you need to look like this, you need to look like that. Now, one of us has been put on probation because of our weight. When you make the team, of course you make it on your dance ability, cheer ability.
I think it's more what we portray on the court, how we act. I don't feel like there's any pressure at all to look or be a certain way. I'm me, and they chose me because of that.
Every girl on the squad has a beautiful physique. I mean, they're a beautiful girl. If they weren't, they wouldn't put you on the squad. You know what, I am who I am. I'm happy with who I am, and I think that comes across.
It does come across. This tall, leggy blonde is 28-year-old Jenny Waters. Jenny is a sophomore on the Laker girls squad.
You're kind of soaking it all in when you first start as a Laker girl because there's so much going on in the Staples Center and so many exciting people there. There's Jack, you know, sitting over there, and Pamela Anderson sitting over there.
Jenny isn't a rookie when it comes to cheering for a pro team.
I cheered for the Rams when they were still in Anaheim, and I was 18 when I made it, so I was one of the youngest girls that had made it, so I was just elated. So I remember those games where I had the hairspray like you couldn't imagine, the thick makeup, and we're just dripping sweat trying to look glamorous.
But growing up for Jenny involved little glamour.
From the time that I was little, I played every single sport you could possibly imagine. I got really heavily into tennis, pretty competitively. It was a little lonely at different times. When it got to that high level, I was actually, before middle school, you know, practicing at 5 in the morning, and it didn't become fun anymore. I didn't start to enjoy it anymore. And even when I won, I was being, you know, told by different coaches, well, this is what you need to improve on. And you know, I really don't want to do this. I think I'm doing it more, you know, to please Dad.
Despite wanting to please her father, Jenny turned her attention towards dance. At first, her parents had a hard time adjusting.
I remember my first solo that I had. I asked, it was like when video cameras first came out, you know, Mom and Dad, please tape my first solo. Sure enough, I get home, they taped the wrong girl. They didn't even know it was me. Just because it was another, you know, tall blonde girl, they thought they had no clue. And I have to sit back and laugh.
It's hard not to notice this statuesque beauty. Jenny even stood out on national television.
After 1 year of dancing, I was put on Star Search. So I thought I was on top of the world. I was 15 years old. My friend was 18, the guys were 23, and I thought, this was cool, you know, I'm gonna be on Star Search. So at that point, I'm like, you know what, I'm kind of liking this. I think I'll stick to it.
Jenny did stick to it. She loves to dance and shares that love with others.
I also actually fly to Florida 4 to 6 times a year, and I have an all-star team that I have there. It's called H2O's All-Star, and they're little girls from 8 years old all the way up to 18. So I choreograph for them, and I design their costumes, and they go and compete at least twice a year, and they perform in the communities.
When she's not dancing, Jenny makes her living selling pharmaceuticals.
I'm a self-motivator, self-starter. I love working with doctors and nurses and the office staff at the front, so it was kind of one of those things that just clicked.
A career in sales allows Jenny the freedom and flexibility to maintain a hectic schedule and be around people she enjoys.
Basically what we do is sell a service. So I go and call on doctors, all types of doctors. What's neat about it is I'm a real people person, and I think that comes across when you're really real and genuine, because I love the nurses at the front. They're hilarious, and I'm really good friends with all of them. You kind of set your own schedule, so you're able to travel a lot, and that enables me to do these other things like Lakers and different cheerleading camps and clinics that I run.
Still, she finds enough free time to hit the gym. Jenny feels she needs the extra workout to keep up with the Laker girls on game days.
So what I try to do is pop in at lunchtime or after work, and I definitely try to get my cardio in. Cardio is really important, at least 30 minutes 3 times a week.
Jenny has an incredible outlook on life and her fellow cheerleaders.
Put it in perspective. You know, everyone does great things if you just take the time to find out about people. They're more than just what they are on the surface, and I think that's what says a lot about us and cheerleaders and professional dancers in general, is that's just one aspect of our personality, and we do lots of other things as well.
Coming up, a father passes the torch.
He just looked at me with this intense look, like, this is the last time I'm gonna see you.
And next, cheerleading pays off, just not in dollars.
We look at the players, they're getting so much money, and then we get this little bit of money on our paycheck.
For 3 decades.
You name it, I would eat it, and I would sleep on the beach.
Probably shop.
Take my hardworking father and my mother, who has spent her entire life just supporting her kids. I would want to take them and do, I don't know, go to Ireland or something and run in a field.
I don't know what I would do myself. I never had that much time free.
Even though it's the 21st century, cheerleaders are still trying to be taken seriously. They want to be appreciated for the athleticism and skill the sport requires.
I pretend the stereotypes don't bother me, but you know, in the back of my head I'm going, well, you know, give me a chance, kind of listen to what I have to say. or that makes me want to prove myself even more.
I think that's changed a lot than it has maybe in the 80s. I think now that we're in the millennium, people do think a lot differently that with the TV exposure, if they can see different aspects of the girls, like, wow, you know, they're all professional women.
A lot of people think of a stereotype of cheerleader as not being smart or whatever, but we have a lot of girls here that are very intelligent, are either going through school or have graduated from college, and you have to do something outside of this. This can't be your only job because we don't make a lot of money.
That's an understatement. The pay varies from team to team, but the average is $50 to $100 per game.
We don't get paid for the practice. We get paid $50 per game here.
It's a minimum wage job, so we are paid per game and an hourly rate per practice.
I mean, you have, you know, up to 700 girls trying out for this that would all, no one's asking how much you get paid. You know, you find that out later, and if you don't want to do it, there's 699 other girls that would like to do it.
If you asked us if we were getting paid enough, no. We're doing it because we love it, yes, but it's still a job. We still have to devote tons of hours to it, and sometimes it really doesn't feel like we get paid enough.
I'm not allowed to talk about the money, but as far as I'm concerned, I could do this for free, and I wouldn't mind.
22-year-old TAMICA Lee is enjoying her first year as a Saint-Sation. They do things a little different in the Big Easy. The cheerleaders are truly the ambassadors for the team.
In the beginning of the game, before we start the game process, we have a video which shows us, it's the song One in a Million, and it shows us, you know, walking through the, you know, the mall and coming out in our suits. It shows us, you know, working out, and then they introduce us, so we come on. We do change clothes into suits, and we do go up into the suites and visit the fans and see how everything's going with the game, if they're enjoying the game, and we come back on the field, and we rotate groups.
TAMICA's life has not been easy. When she was 5, her father, Vivian Lee, a former cornerback for the Saints, died.
He had an enlarged heart, and he had high cholesterol and high blood pressure, and in the middle of the night he got up to go get some air outside. I remember hearing the noise, and I woke up. Well, it was him trying to catch his breath, and I came out my room and I looked down the stairs and I saw him on the couch, and he just looked at me with this intense look like, "This is the last time I'm going to see you."
Lee was just 36 when he passed away.
I didn't understand it, and I didn't use it as a crutch. Most people use it when their parents die as a crutch. You know, this is why I'm like this, and this is why I'm like that. I kind of just accepted it, and I had a great childhood. My she was great, so I wasn't deprived of anything.
But the hardships continued for TAMICA. Just 5 years after her father's death, her mother became ill.
1989, my mother was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. It takes over her body. It's a nerve disease, so she couldn't walk. And it was 6 weeks it took her to get able to walk again. So immediately, I kind of had to grow up within my family. I had a younger brother. I was the oldest child. So growing up in middle school and high school was kind of like, you know, I wasn't the mom, but I was definitely the older sister. You know, I had to control, a lot of control in my family.
TAMICA is still in control.
I'm in school, and I'm on Sensations, and I teach, you know, and I take care of my brother. And take care of the family stuff and pay the bills, because she can't have the stress of bills, of my brother's problems, my problems, and stuff like that.
Despite her burdens, TAMICA hasn't ignored her education.
I'm a student at University of New Orleans. I'm a senior here in marketing. It took me, you know, a little while, a year later, because of my mom's sickness, but, you know, I graduate, that's all that matters.
TAMICA lets nothing stand in her way. She gladly shares her interest in dance with kids of all ages.
I work for American All-Star. I've worked there for about 5 years. As a staff member, you teach high school camps and you teach middle school camps and sometimes college. My main focus is high school, and from there I've become such a choreographer. People request me to do their national routines or competition routines.
But no matter how busy TAMICA is, she never lets anything keep her from being with her mother.
I visit my mother every day at the rehab center. I promised Mom I would never send her to a home, and for her to be in the rehab center is very hard for me to deal with. She's strong, and I try to be strong.
TAMICA displays strength every time she steps out on that field, the same field her father played on more than 2 decades ago.
He'd be very proud. And every time I perform, I do perform for him.
Still ahead, a cheerleader who dances to a different beat.
And I never thought to myself, well, I'm deaf, I can't hear the music.
Everyone went to their corner and I went the wrong way.
I was dancing for a 2-minute warning, we're on the field, everybody's watching you, and the pom-pom goes across the field to the other side.
At a Christmas halftime one year, part of my skirt fell down.
Just happened to have a cotton ball fall out of a place. That was stuffing my bra.
So I stood still while everybody else was dancing for about 30 seconds until I realized, oops, I gotta start dancing.
Cheerleaders put in countless hours of practice every week, and they cheer tirelessly at all the home games. But these girls aren't complaining.
The rewards are 100 times worth it. It really is. Just being able to dance with a group of girls that they're wonderful. It's like one of the top experiences you could have. I mean, we're dancing. This is what we love to do, and we're performing for millions of fans. It's really fun.
It's something I can't explain. There's just people everywhere. I don't know how it is for other sports, but basketball, they are just right there. And you're just in the game. You're there. It's alive.
It's my passion. My passion is dancing. My passion is people. My passion is cheerleading.
It's a great opportunity to be out there, and I love performing, I love dancing, and so I'm trying to do this while I still can.
Let's face it, cheerleaders are attractive women, and a lot of athletes are attractive men. But in the world of professional sports, the two don't mix.
That's part of the rules, that there's not to be any interaction with them, you know, on a personal basis. And you know, and if someone has gone that direction, they're eliminated from the squad.
The guys need to do the best, and if we're a girlfriend or would like to be on the sidelines, it's distracting for them, and they need to be playing and focusing on the game, and we need to be focusing on dancing.
There have been times when players have been interested in one of us or wanted to give us their number, and we're instructed very carefully not to accept anything, not to develop any kind of interactions with any of the players. Part of me thinks, well, we're adults. We should be able to determine who we want to talk to.
Like it or not, 23-year-old Jessica Brown follows the rules anyway. Jessica cheers for the Washington Wizards basketball team in Washington, D.C.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Wizards dance team.
Jessica's love of dance shines on the court, but cheerleading was never part of her plans.
If somebody had told me I would be a cheerleader 10 years ago or even 5 years ago, I would have laughed at them because I was a dancer. I wouldn't go near cheerleading.
Jessica was born in New York and maintains her roots.
I originally spoke Hebrew. When I went to school, I began to learn English. My mom is from Israel. She was born and raised in Israel, and she came to America when she met my father, and then I was able to retain being bilingual, so I now speak Hebrew and English.
For this bilingual beauty, dancing and cheering are especially challenging.
I am hearing impaired, and I wear 2 hearing aids to help me with any residual hearing that I have. But I'm not sure how I got hearing impaired. I don't know if I was born that way or it might have happened later on. I usually just say that I'm deaf. It gives people an idea of how hearing impaired I actually am. And I usually rely mostly on reading lips. So I had speech therapy a lot too when I was growing up.
Jessica's never let her hearing loss get in the way of her dreams.
My mom was always dancing around me, so it really was second nature for me just to go right into dance. And I never thought to myself, well, I'm deaf, I can't hear the music.
With a little help, Jessica hears her own music.
My hearing aids are wonderful. They really help in amplifying whatever I can hear. And I do work a little bit with vibrations off of the floor, and that helps me keep counting. But my teammates now will count for me. And they'll start off, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I'll get the rhythm, I'll get the tempo, and I can continue counting in my head. There's been a couple of times where I haven't started, and everybody back of me has started to dance because I didn't hear the music start. So I'll turn around eventually and realize, oh, I didn't start, and kind of pick up. My hearing loss, I try not to let it prevent me from doing anything.
And so far, it definitely hasn't. When she's not working out with the squad, Jessica teaches kindergarten in D.C.
I teach at 8:30 in the morning at Garrison Elementary. I teach full-day kindergarten. It's an inner-city school in a poor neighborhood. Being a teacher, I had to kind of overcome fears. What if I don't hear my students and there's an emergency? What if I can't hear them well enough and I affect the way they learn how to read and write and speak? But I've taught now for 2 years, and my students have learned how to read and they speak beautifully.
In addition to cheering and teaching, Jessica is a graduate student at Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore. And she doesn't stop there. She also manages to fit in teaching a dance class.
I get done with the kids at 3:15. Then I have my older kids come down. They're 5th and 6th graders, and they're our Wildcat Cheerleaders dance team. It's a chance for me to teach dance again, which I really enjoy.
Jessica's hearing impairment gives her a glimpse into both sides of human nature.
I have been treated a little bit differently because of my hearing impairment in 2 ways. One way is, the wonderful way that human beings have a way of just really being sensitive, and especially on my team now, other times I really not such a great side of humans because they tend to not consider that I might be deaf and I might not be hearing them, and they'll think I'm ignoring them. And the last thing I ever seem to think about is the fact that I'm deaf. I don't even try. It's just natural, not natural for me to think of it as a big stigma.
Jessica never seems to slow down.
I think I've actually developed a problem where I can't not be busy. I have every minute of the day filled.
This overachiever doesn't think of herself as handicapped. And despite all Jessica's accomplishments, she is most proud of her work with children.
I think with my occupation, being a kindergarten teacher, I should be a role model. I should be for all those kids that are in my class. And I try to show them what they can accomplish and what they can be. I try to be a role model for other people my age too, to show them it's possible to be a dancer and to go to school and get my master's and to have a full-time job and to coach another team and do that all while being happy, having a relationship and being with my family. I think that I should be a role model. I hope I am.
Up next, we'll reveal some superstar celebs who used to shake a mean pom-pom.
Who's the most famous cheerleader you know?
It's taught me that I don't have to be afraid of being in front of people. Not everyone is going to judge you.
I think being able to really focus on what I'm doing at hand.
It's taught me that I do have confidence now. Before, maybe I didn't.
To overcome adversity.
Coming from South Africa and being deprived for so many years, it just taught me that I am equal to everybody else and that I do have power as well.
Some of Hollywood's biggest stars have shaken a pair of pom-poms back in their day. Celebrities like Halle Berry, Sandra Bullock, and Renee Zellweger, just to name a few. Terry Hatcher even chaired professionally for the San Francisco 49ers. And of course, cheerleading helped PAULA ABDUL get her start in song and dance.
I just think it's the most marvelous medium. I think that these girls also, they want to maybe become PAULA ABDUL too, I don't know.
Although all of these girls would probably love to follow in Paula's footsteps, they also have some ambitious plans outside the spotlight.
My main interest is to create curriculum adaptations for students who are deaf. Many teachers now get deaf students or hard of hearing students in their classroom and have no idea how to make accommodations to their curriculum.
My main focus is dancing. I'm getting my degree in marketing because if all fails with dancing, I also have something to fall back on as far as teaching choreography and one day directing.
I'm also planning on, taking a leave from work and pursuing, would like to get my license in massage therapy. Definitely continue dancing in some way.
I have children that I teach, and I have all-star teams and cheerleading clinics and dance clinics, so I think for sure I'm going to continue that on.
Whatever their future plans, the thrill of being in front of thousands of screaming fans and the friendship of supportive teammates is not easy to give up.
Definitely going to try out next year. The program's great, the coach, the girls. I I love it.
I still want to be involved with the same girls next year too, because I've just now met everyone, and I can't see me leaving this quick. So I think I at least want to put one more year into it.
One of the many important things these women do is to bring a little cheer to our armed forces abroad. For years, cheerleaders from many of the professional sports teams have performed in USO shows. In the year 2001, the girls were a big hit in Bosnia.
The Dallas Cowboy cheerleader.
If you're an aspiring cheerleader, listen up. Our women have a few words of advice.
I think it's good to investigate it and know what the demands are.
Try out, and if you don't make it, try out next year. A lot of people, try out 2 and 3 times.
Keep your body in shape, because you will have those injuries, and it's the better shape you are in, the better you're going to be able to overcome those.
Always keep a positive attitude. One of the girls gave us a saying. It was, skill will get you to this high level, but it's your character that'll keep you there.
Besides cheerleading, the one thing these women all have in common is character.
The true spirit of a cheerleader, male or female, is unlike anything you've ever experienced. And you get not just 100% from that person, you get 250.
I'm a go-getter, and I'm not going to quit until my body literally gives out, which might be coming up soon.
Every single game, there's somebody who gets a phone number, somebody who gets some kind of overtures from somebody.
It's a neat way that you get treated. I mean, you instantly put on that Laker outfit and, you're a pseudo-celebrity type of thing. And, it's cool.